As a student of cinema, you're always asking yourself, what do people want to see? You are making a movie, presupposing, especially a movie that costs money, especially other people's money, you are presupposing that an audience is there. So the very question you have to ask yourself first when you're going to make a movie is, who is this movie for? And it's interesting because now I feel that there are very few movies in that adult vein being made and coming out in theaters. Adult drama especially has more moved over to streaming. And I understand that, and more that novelistic approach. But I was just thinking about, as one does, I figured I'm going to go back to 1970, 80, 90, 2000, and 2010, and 20, and just see what were the top grossing movies of those years. So here are the top grossing movies of 1970. Love Story was number 1. Airport was number 2. MASH was number 3. Patton was number 4. The Disney film The Aristocats was number 5. Woodstock, the documentary, was number 6. Little Big Man was number 7. Ryan's Daughter was number 8. Tora, Tora, Tora was number 9. And Catch-22 was number 10. Aside from The Aristocats, all of these movies were adult dramas. So let's jump ahead. Let's go and see, what were the top grossing movies in 1980? The number 1 top grossing movie, if you know your films, not surprisingly, was The Empire Strikes Back. That was number 1. Number 2, Stir Crazy, an R-rated comedy. Kramer versus Kramer, a movie about a marriage falling apart. Airplane, a bawdy PG comedy. Any Which Way You Can, of course, Clint Eastwood comedy. Private Benjamin, an adult comedy starring Goldie Hawn, which I love, and Eileen Brennan. Do these come in anything other than green? Where is that physical media? Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek. Smokey and the Bandit 2, obviously a comedy, a follow-up to the great hit Smokey and the Bandit. The Blues Brothers at number 9. And 10, Ordinary People. 5 were comedies, and 3, I would say, were adult dramas. Coal Miner's Daughter, Ordinary People, and Stir Crazy. That was the best pictures, or the highest grossing pictures of 1980. Now let's jump ahead to 1990. Number 1 grossing movie of 1990, Ghost. Romantic drama, fantasy as well. Pretty Woman, adult comedy. Home Alone, comedy, but for the family. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at number 4. The Hunt for Red October, number 5. Number 6, Total Recall. Number 7, Die Hard 2. Number 8, Dick Tracy. Number 9, Driving Miss Daisy. And number 10 is Back to the Future. Now, if you look at these, Ghost was a fantasy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, fantasy. Total Recall, science fiction. Die Hard 2, action. Dick Tracy, comic book adaptation. Back to the Future 3, fantastical film. Now, you can see the paradigm shift going from 70 to 80, now into 1990. We've got some sequels. We've got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Dick Tracy were both comic adaptations. Hunt for Red October I would consider an adult drama. It was based, of course, on a book. And Driving Miss Daisy, which was humorous, but also kind of an adult drama. So really on this, you've got escapist fare and only really 2 adult dramas. Now let's look at 2000. The number 1 grossing film of 2000. Anyone want to guess? The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. That's right, number 1. Number 2, Mission Impossible 2. Number 3, Gladiator. Number 4, Perfect Storm. Number 5, Meet the Parents. Number 6, X-Men. Number 7, Scary Movie. Number 8, What Lies Beneath. Number 9, Dinosaur. And number 10, Aaron Brockovich. I wouldn't call any of these. Maybe Aaron Brockovich, a biopic, could be considered a straight drama. All of the other films, even though there's some adult-themed movies, Lean into the fantastical. No one's doing Kramer versus Kramer or Ordinary People anymore. Highest grossing movies of 2010. Toy Story 3, Avatar, Alice in Wonderland, Iron Man 2, The Twilight Saga, Eclipse, Inception, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Despicable Me, Shrek, Forever After, How to Train Your Dragon. No adult-themed movies that aren't either sequels or fantasy or science fiction. 4 of the top-grossing films are animated movies. 4. That's new. Haven't seen that. But again, I wouldn't say any of these movies were designed for an adult audience. Now let's jump forward to 2020. What do we got? Bad Boys for Life, 1917, Sonic the Hedgehog, Jumanji: The Next Level, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, Birds of Prey, Dolittle, Little Women, The Invisible Man, and Call of the Wild. All of them are kind of transportive in a way that something like Patton, MASH, Catch-22, Kramer versus Kramer, Love Story, Ordinary People are definitely not. Now, of course, during this time, our culture has shifted tremendously. We have, by the time we get to 2020, you've got the influence of social media. I think our culture is becoming less literate. We're being more infantilized. The rise of video games, obviously, and by 2020, you have YouTube, you have user-generated content, less literary adaptations, and a lot less adult fare. Movies about what it's like to live in the real world or the consequences of being an adult. We've almost completely moved over to the fantastic. There is one thing that movies need that I personally call bite. A movie has to have a bite. And some people might call it a high concept, hook, call it what you want. But a bite is something that grabs a hold of you, but it grabs a hold of your intellect. There's something about a movie, and it doesn't matter, it can be a comedy, a drama, an animated film. It's got to have some bite. And what a bite is it gets its teeth into you. And for whatever reason, you got to see it. This film's bitten into you somehow. It's got some bite. And it makes you want to see it. A perfect example of a movie that I would say has bite is Weapons. Watch the trailer for Weapons. It gives you an irresistible premise. First of all, I'm not saying everybody's going to be entranced by the marketing for Weapons, but even in the trailer, lays out the question. A class full of young students, an entire class, has disappeared. They all ran out into the night, 2 o'clock plus in the morning, and were never seen again. That's the bite. Got to know what happens. What happened to those kids? That is what I would like to call, I've talked about TV shows like Manifest having an impossible premise. Weapons has an irresistible premise. What happens? I got to know. Even adult dramas back in the day, like Kramer versus Kramer or Ordinary People. Kramer versus Kramer, Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep are getting divorced. What's going to happen? Half of America, you're looking at two big, even back then, Dustin Hoffman was one of the biggest stars in the world. Meryl Streep was on the meteoric rise she had. Really, Kramer versus Kramer was one of those movies that put her on the map. Half of America had been divorced. And here you see a movie that looks accessible. Even though movie stars are in it, it's like, I gotta find out what happens. What happens? Because that experience could be my experience. That movie had the bite. If you want adult dramas to succeed at the theater, you need to give people a reason to go see them. Putting stars in them is not enough of a reason anymore. You have to instill in someone's mind either a question, a premise, something that hooks them in that they can't stop thinking about, or that you think. And Weapons, even though it's a horror film, Weapons did that extraordinarily well. No one knew anything about Weapons. It was not a sequel. It was not Bloodline. It was not Final Destination. It was a brand new horror film, totally original, Or it has to be an irresistible premise. What is an irresistible premise? Well, it is in the eye of the beholder, but in terms of adult drama, that's what you got to give them. And if you're not, they're not going to go see.